Hi everyone, Dan Telander here, aka me from Me and Virgil, the Genesis Brothers podcast, which hopefully by now you might have heard because yesterday our premiere episode went live. And we are very excited about it. My brother and I have been working on this for many months, and we did our first recording many months ago. And then I happily volunteered to take care of all the audio stuff, so I've been having tons of fun with that, putting it all together. And we feel very happy with it, and we hope you do too. And we already thank you for those who've already commented, who had already commented expressing how much they enjoyed it, so thank you very much to that. So this video is also once again a bit of a response towards my brother's video and what we would like people to take out of this. And basically, one of the reasons we wanted to do this was to, of course, express our love for this band and to hopefully maybe share things that perhaps you didn't know about this. Perhaps what you thought were facts from the band are instead correct, are brought across here with us instead, because we can very strongly say that we are, when it comes to this band, we are kind of sort of nerds, if I dare say that. So there's been previous podcasts or even people just putting up videos of Genesis, talking about them and everything, and then they state these things about them, and we're like, sorry, we just know for a fact that that's just not true. For example, one guy, which I found on TikTok actually the other day, some guy was expressing the love for Genesis. It looked like he was recording a podcast in a studio somewhere, saying like, oh yeah, and he was stating all these things about Genesis, and I thought, wow, this guy knows his stuff. But then suddenly you hear In the Air Tonight playing, it's going, so Genesis, In the Air Tonight. And I didn't really know what he meant by that, whether he was joking or whether he was just saying like, here's something related to Genesis because of Phil Collins, but he didn't say anything about it. He just said, yeah, Genesis, In the Air Tonight. So that instantly was kind of like, whoa. So, point I'm making here is that I'm hoping that you would take something new away from this band, because the fact being that they've not, had a new album since 1997, which, by the way, was the release date yesterday, which we thought was quite appropriately cool to release our first episode on the same date that Genesis released their last album 23 years ago. 23 years ago, and yet they are still just as popular today as they were way back then. And obviously it helps that they've done 2 reunion tours since then. But it just goes to show that a band with the huge history that they've had can thankfully still be loved today. And the amount of transitions that they've gone through in their lives, I think maybe just proves the fact that what Phil Collins was actually stating, might hit the nail on the head when, because obviously a lot of people express their, I wouldn't go as far as say hate, but maybe their lack of love for a band who's gone through the various changes and going like, you can't do that, that's a sellout, you can't change what you sound like. And yet Phil Collins will state saying like, well, what did you look like 10 years ago? Or what did you sound like 10 years ago? Were you the same person 10 years ago? So the band does go through this, and some bands can survive just playing the same as they have done, and dare I say, someone like AC/DC, for example, apart from different singers, as far as I can tell, the music sounds exactly the same as it did when they first started. And I'm not dissing that, I'm saying that's great. If you know what you love, then just keep doing it. But Genesis were primarily songwriters, and they wanted to experiment, and they wanted to try things out. And then, of course, they were talking about all things mythical back when they first started. Then, of course, they started to experience the world and life, and then they started to write about things about that. See, and this is just one of the things we wanted to discuss on the show. That not quoting directly, but a few subject lines here on the show, on future shows, saying like the lyrical content, the various transitions that they went through, how one album could maybe have had an impact on an album that followed up or prior, the various lineups that they've gone through, the live lineups that they have and how it affects them, what a track can sound like compared to the studio, compared to it live, you see. So this is just it, you see, because they have, to me, in my eyes, they have like tons of worlds rolled into one because of the changes that they had. I mean, the amount of drummers that they had could be almost turned into a Spinal Tap story. And this is just the point. Maybe many people don't even know that they had that many drummers. Maybe people knew that Phil Collins was just the only drummer. I'm sure there's still people out there who aren't even aware that Peter Gabriel used to be the lead singer. I'm sure there are even people out there who are not even aware that Phil Collins used to be a drummer. So these are just the things that we also hoping that people can take away from the show, with just walking away with big, like, cool show and aha moments like this, you see. So this is the kind of things we want to hopefully bring across, and at the same time hopefully you can hear how much we love talking about this band, how nice it is for two brothers who live on very different sides of the planet, how it is cool for the two of us to get together and talk about this as well, you know, because with our busy schedules we don't have much time for that. So yeah, so it's just things like this. So we thank you very much for listening, if you have listened already to the episode, and thanks for tuning into this very long episode here, this little video here. And yeah, just let us know your comments as well. Please write to us as well at meandvirgilpod@gmail.com, and we look forward to hearing you all and seeing you all again. All right, take care.